T. Uncommon lunge matrix with our pick and our press. In sync rotation, out of sync rotation. We're gonna go our little anterior lateral, anterior medial. We're gonna go our medial lunges, and then we're gonna go posterior, posterior medial, and posterior lateral uncommon. Let's start with our anterior lateral first. This time we're gonna use the right leg, show you a little something different. The left arm is gonna drive out of sync rotation. Drive out of sync rotation with the pick. Both legs, both feet are pointed forward. It's important with these guys. Good alignment. Good alignment is good loading. Load on up, out of sync rotation. Pick and press. Left arm is doing the picking, loading out of sync. Pressing with the right. We're now going to load in sync rotation and unload out of sync. Load in sync rotation and out of sync. Load in sync rotation, unload out of sync, and let's go anterior medial with it now. So with that right leg, both feet pointed forward like 12 o'clock on a clock, you're going to load out of sync rotation with the crossover lunge. So the pick with the left, the press with the right. Pick with the left, press with the right, really loading up that right butt and that right hip, and that T-spine and scapulothoracic mobility. So pick, and a little press, and let's load in sync now. The crossover, so you're going to load in sync, unload out of sync. Really kind of winding up that internal rotation, TZ2 of that left hip. A lot of great focal points of which we can use this for. And now let's just go straight medial. Let's go kind of straight medial crossover. Let's load in sync, unload out of sync. Let's load in sync, unload out of sync. Let's load out of sync, unload in sync. Left arm is the picker with the right foot crossing over. Right arm is the presser. Left arm is the picker. Right arm is the presser. We're now going to go through our posterior, posterior medial, posterior lateral lunge matrix, which is part of our uncommon series, with our in sync rotation, out of sync rotation, kind of loading. So let me show you kind of a couple little side views of this guy right here. Let's go from the side. Left leg is the base foot, both feet pointed forward. Again, like 12 o'clock on a clock. Let's use the right arm as the picker, drive out of sync, press in sync to unload. Right arm is the picker, left arm presses up to the wagon. Right arm picks, left arm presses to the wagon. Let's load in sync. In sync, the left arm is the picker, the right arm is the presser. Left arm is the picker, right arm is the presser. Loading in sync rotation, facilitating TZ1 of the internal rotation and gait, and TZ2 at the right hip, internal rotation, pelvis rotating to the right faster than what the femur is. Let's go ahead from a head-on view now. I'm going to show you posterior lateral and posterior medial. Let's go posterior medial. So when you cross over backwards and outside the midline of the body, you're weighting up that weight over that left leg as much as you can. Load it up, picking the press. Load it up, picking the press, driving in sync rotation with the left pick, out of sync rotation with the right, press up to the wagon. Let's load out of sync and then unload in sync. Great stretch for the butt complex. Taking the right arm and loading out of sync, the in sync press. Let's go posterior lateral lunge now with the in sync and the out of sync, picking the press matrix. Left foot is the base foot, both feet pointed forward, 12 o'clock on a clock. When you lunge back and outside the midline as far as you can, weight is over the left leg. It's a little weight over that front foot, not that front foot, the back kind of forefoot. We're gonna load out of sync first, unload in sync. Load out of sync, drive that left knee forward, unload in sync. We're going to load in sync rotation, really kind of stirring things up, that side to side frontal plane, as well as that rotational plane. So here, in here within the hips. So a good abduction, that right hip, and good internal rotation loading with their in sync rotation load. Let me include you on a couple of my little key secrets of some great fun things I like to include with this, the uncommon posterior lunge matrix series. I will a lot of times use either the BAPs to really help drive mobility from the bottom on up, whether I need it at the foot and the ankle or higher up in the chain to get things to collapse, and the foam wedge. So just really simple, what I'm going to do, as you're familiar with these guys from our previous little explorations, we're going to go right foot up on the BAPs. We're going into our posterior lunge series to kind of get the system to collapse better, more efficiently, taking up the slack somewhere so we can drive motion somewhere else to give three-dimensional mobility everywhere. So we're going posterior lunge, and let's go ahead and flip a second so y'all can see this. So we're going to load out of sync, really driving mobility kind of in that hip, that right hip, internal rotation, unloading in sync, and as we unload in sync with the right press, whoops, a little off balance right there, it's a tough little exercise. It's really driving all that medial rotation, that loading that we need. Let's now drive in sync rotation and unload out of sync. Here and here. Here and here. These are some of my all-time favorites. I'm now going to show you kind of the posterior medial. We're going to go with a crossover. We'll drive in sync rotation and load out of sync. Whew, get me. Drive in sync and unload out of sync. Load in sync rotation, all that medial rotation of everything in that right and lower extremity, and drive out of sync. Let's add a little BAPs board. The little guy just woke up from the cave. We need to open the door, undomesticate him in a second. We'll go E version on the BAPs. E version, so really going after the frontal plane. Let's load out of sync and drive in sync. Let's load out of sync and drive in sync. Great shout out to my people back in the Midwest, my parents, my family, the farms that sent these guys. So load out of sync, drive in sync. Load out of sync, drive in sync. If you notice that back foot, those toes are still pointed forward. Don't let the hip bail out. You're gonna want to get back, and that left hip is gonna want to yank on out. Don't let it. What we're gonna do next, let's drive in sync, unload, out of sync. Boom and boom, boom and boom. One last quick thing, get y'all jazzed up for Halloween. We also can combine the BAPs and the Dorsiflexed foam wedge. We can combine the Kelton-born wedge for the ultimate hybrid squash. Navicular tuberosity, we're blocking the midfoot. We're going on in, refer back to the single toe touchdown, the pick and the press. We're gonna go posterior medial lunge, drive in sync rotation, really drive that that midfoot to unlock there for us. Drive in sync rotation, unload out of sync. Drive in sync rotation, load out of sync. Let's load out of sync, drive in sync. Almost like unlocking and unwedging a stuck dresser drawer. The little seesaw teeter-totter action. All right, guys, welcome to the finale of the pick and the press. Done but never finished. We're gonna progress with those guys a little bit. Let the monkey out of his cage. Come on out, buddy, and play. Here's the pick and the press matrix. Here's all of our great little squashes that we hunted and that we gathered. Come here, Mav. Yeah. Is this your pumpkin? We need to encourage the hunter and gatherer and all of us. Do things originally, organically, in terms of simplicity, commitment to the fundamentals and the foundations of the pillars of movement science. Hunt and gather, pick and press. Level changes, pushing and pulling are a part of normal motion. Yeah, that's a pumpkin. Have a great day, guys. Have fun. Be safe.